Hi, crafting fam, and welcome back to Victoria's Creations. If you're new here, welcome. I hope you stick around and enjoy the tutorial. Today, we're going to do decoupage. I know the last video I said that we were going to focus mostly on sublimation and everything related to Cricut. And as you can see, there's no sublimation or Cricut going on here. But in my opinion, and it could be just me, but to me, decoupage is kind of like sublimation without the inks, without the machine, without the printer, without all of, well, we do use, you don't always have to, but in this tutorial, we are using the mini heat press, Cricut's mini heat press. So I guess it is kind of Cricut related too, still. Hey, check it out. But anyway, I can't help it. Fall is right around the corner. We've got to start decorating. We've got to start planning out. And for those of you who are making crafts to sell, you really need to start working on your fall and your Halloween kind of things, because that's what's out. If you look on Etsy, if you look in the stores, that's what you're seeing right now. So that's kind of, I know it seems like, wow, we're not ready for that yet. And trust me, I know, because fall means back to work. But that's okay. That's how it goes. So if you're ready to make this, of course, the one we're making today is going to look a little different, but it is still this. Join me at my crafting table. We'll get started. For today's project, you're going to need wooden cutting boards, letters to spell out fall decor napkins, string. I am using macrame string. You can use macrame string, jute string, yarn, anything of that nature. Building blocks from Dollar Tree, hot glue gun and sticks, Mod Podge, brush to put on the Mod Podge, paint, painter's tape, paint brushes. Now that we have everything we need, let's get crafting. Before you begin, you want to go ahead and do your painting. Do this first, that way you can use painter's tape to be able to block off on your board where you want your paint to start, so you're not bleeding in. Because once you put your signs on here, I don't think that putting tape on it would be such a great idea. So let's start off by putting our tape on here. And we're only taping or painting the handle. So I'm going to put this about right there. Looks good. The rest of that will be taped. You want to make sure that you press down on this part where the seam is, and that will help minimize paint going underneath the tape. Not going to say it's going to stop it, but it'll help cut it back where it won't be on there as much. Repeat the same process on each of these. I'm going to do a time lapse so you don't have to sit here and watch me do each one individually. How you paint these are going to be 100% up to you. What I want to do is make mine match the napkins that I'm going to use. So for this one, I'm going to use the pumpkin paint. It's just acrylic paint that I got from Hobby Lobby, but it'll match it very well. Now, how you do this is completely up to you. You can leave your letters white if you get the ones that come white. You can paint them a different color. You can choose to get the wood look ones and just stain them. However you want to do it. The way I'm going to do it is I want to match. So my letters will match my handles. So whatever I'm painting my handles, I'm painting my letters. Shake up your paint. I'm going to do my letters first. And I got a small paintbrush to be able to get in the inside parts and just start painting. Use your best judgment on whether or not you have to put 1 or 2 coats once the first coat is dry. I was actually going to use the sponge brush on this, but that's okay too. It's actually going on there very nice. Remember, if you don't want paint on your fingers, wear gloves, because there is a good chance that you will get paint on your hands, or at least on your fingers. Just like that. Repeat this process on each one of the letters, and then I'll meet you back here. Now that our letters are painted, we can move on to our cutting boards. Tape's in place. All you have to do is start painting. Remember, you're painting on wood that is going to soak up your paint. So if you put quite a bit on there, it may not smooth out as far. Well, it may not go as far. You ever have those days where words just escape you? Set it down to dry because we're only doing one part at a time. And yes, I'm doing the edges too. I say I'm doing the edges. Did I forget to do the edges on this one? I did. Look at that. I am doing the edges though. You don't have to. That is a preference because with these cutting boards, the edges are kind of dark. Make sure you smooth out the edges where the paint come up. You are going to definitely have to do more than one coat, especially with this orange or pumpkin. All right. Ooh, did you see that? It was so close. Ooh. All right. It is dry enough that I can go ahead and do another coat. And I'm focusing more on the front than I am on the sides. Because on this, unless you just want it, your sides do not have to be as orange or whatever color you're painting yours. Much better. Let those dry for just a quick second. Go ahead and clean your brush off, but don't put it away because we are going to come back to the I want to keep saying orange, to the pumpkin. Now that we have our orange on there, did it again. Now that we have our pumpkin on there, let's go ahead and remove the tape. Do so carefully because as you're removing it, some of that wood splinter, so to speak, is going to come up, and you don't want to jerk it off of there. You have a steady hand at painting, you really don't need the painter's tape. See how some of the wood is coming up. So you want to be careful at removing it. And if that happens, you can either A, get you some Mod Podge, because it's kind of like glue, and stick it back down. And it'll have that kind of hairy look to it. Let me show you. Notice I was going over it slowly so it doesn't pop back up. Or you could have just taken some a sanding block and sanded it a little bit to get it off. Just like that. You can still see it a little bit, but it'll be okay. At the end of the day, it is getting covered up. But this one will have to paint last. Give that Mod Podge time to dry. Let's see if we can fill the other ones easier. And remember, you're peeling away from the paint line. I'd like to do this kind of diagonal. Get out your white. I'm using the chalkboard white, or the chalk paint in cottage white. Shake it up. It does not take me long to get paint on my hands. You're painting the rest of the board white on the front side. This is one of those optional things as well, but it does look better when you do the decoupage to have the white or a very light color behind it. Remember, this stuff does soak up the wood, so a little bit does not go a long way, but a lot does also not go a long way. Sorry if that was fuzzy. Well, I moved that too so I don't get paint on the orange. The good thing about the white is you really only need the one coat. You don't have to put a second coat of the white. You do want to make sure it's smoothed out. And if you do get paint on the back side of it anywhere, it's okay, but you want to make sure you set it on something so it doesn't lay flat on the newspaper, because it will get stuck. Repeat the same process with each one. Try not to get the white too much into the orange. If your line is not straight, not 100% of a big deal, because most of this seam is going to be, most or all of it's going to be covered up. So paint the rest of them and we'll meet you back here. Now that our paint is dry, it's time to add one coat. There it is. One coat of Mod Podge. Does not necessarily have to be the dishwasher safe Mod Podge on these. This just happens to be the one I grabbed, so it's what I'm using. Put a good coat on there. If you get a little bit on the orange, it's okay. Set it aside to dry. This is one of those projects that it's not that it takes a long time, but it does take a long time because of waiting on everything to dry. Remember, it does dry clear, so don't worry about the milky look to it now. Because I got some on the back of this one, I'm not going to set it down flat. I'm going to set it down on something. That way it doesn't stick to the newspaper. Alright guys, we wait for that to dry. When it's done, we're on to the next step. Now that our Mod Podge has dried, it's time to add our napkins. Get your napkin, whatever design you're using. Unfold it. You can iron out the wrinkles if the wrinkles are bothering you. Notice I'm just doing a quick swoop. My iron is set on high. And now you just try to pull them apart. There are 3 layers. 2 white layers and then the layer with the design. Grab my tweezers. You can see the opening. There it goes. I had it. Let's see if I can do it this way. There we go. Pull it apart carefully. Still napkin, still good. You can still use it, so don't throw it away. Now you want to decide where you want to put your design. You want to try not to, I don't know if you can see this through the paper, but you want to try not to get the words on your napkin. I mean on your board. I'm going to cut it down the middle. Some of that seam is still there, which is perfect. Gives me something to, or a guide to go by. That off to the side. Want it on this side. So I'm going to cut this right there. You just don't want too much of it hanging off. This makes it easier to do it this way. And the design is going to go about there-ish. Voila. I put the Mod Podge up a little ways onto the neck. Try to find where you put the Mod Podge, where it ended. Make sure that's covered. like that. Take your butcher paper and lay it over top. Take your iron, and I keep mine moving just because that's what I'm accustomed to with the mini. You don't want to leave it in one spot for too long, and you want to just keep going over it. Make sure you're getting the whole, every bit of it. What you're doing is you're reheating up or reactivating that Mod Podge, and your napkin is going to kind of melt into it, so to speak. But it's going to look really cute. It is going to be hot, so if you put your fingers there, make sure it's your nails that's touching, and even then, hot. To see if it's sticking, just lift up. If it comes off even just a little bit, you're not done. Apply more heat. And if I'm shaking the camera, I'm sorry, guys. Heat protected gloves would actually probably do good here. Oops, still in that corner. Now, the next step, once you have it on there, take your nail file or a sanding block. Remember, it's going to be hot, so be very careful. And just go across the edge. I'm not applying much pressure at all. I would put more pressure on filing my nails. Give it a once over. Make sure you have filed all the pieces off. And that's it. Repeat the same process on all of them. Now that we have our napkins done, our decoupage done, it's time to add our letters. Voila, done. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to use my hot glue gun to add them on, and I'm just going to put some hot glue on the bottom or the back of it. And then make sure you line it up where it is on the board. Mash it down so the glue will harden, stick. Try not to get it off of the board like I just did. It's alright. Remember to mash it down. You can also use E6000 to put your letters on if you wanted. Looks like I got to do a touch up right there. Put it down. Your letters don't all have to line up. There was no rhyme or reason for me to line mine up. That's just how I put them on there. I wasn't trying to line them up. That's just what it did. I'll touch that up in just a little bit. And our letters are on. Now it's time to start decorating the tops. And I'm going to touch that up. I hope that you enjoyed that just as much as I enjoyed creating it. And as you can see, sometimes the way we have it pictured in our mind is not the way it actually turns out, because this is not what I envisioned when I first started this craft. I envisioned something a little different. But I don't know if it's just that I enjoyed the first one so much that putting the macrame on these just, it didn't feel right, or what it was, but I went with it. I mean, what else are you supposed to do, right? Just go with it. And when your creativity juices start going, go with it. Let it lead you, that when you're on a roll, go with it. I enjoy this, and I can't wait to make more things that are using the Decoupage. I am going to continue using the iron-on method versus the other methods just because it was quick, it was simple, it I did not have wrinkles, I did not have air bubbles that I had to worry about. Everything is smooth on there, and really and truly, it looks like it's part of the wood, like it's meant to be there, and I enjoy that. I really hope that this inspired you to go and create your own decoupage items, whether it be the cutting boards or a door sign or anything else. You can even decoupage glass, and that might be a project coming up. We'll see. Comment below with what you're going to create. What what ideas, what creativities are flowing through your mind right now with what we just did? Are you creating ones just like mine? Are you creating different holidays? You can do Christmas, you can do Valentine's, you can even do like a baby shower, right? That would be cute. You can, and I think I said this in the video, but now I can't remember. But you can connect them so that I did say that. So it's one piece, or you can keep them separate so that you can kind of move them up and down and have kind of a diagonal look to them. You can choose not to put the backing on them and hang them from the wall, and that works too. So it really just depends. And if you hang it from the wall, you can see like here and here and then here and here. You know what I'm saying? Really go crazy with it. If you enjoyed this tutorial as much as I enjoyed creating it, give this video a thumbs up or a like. It really does help. And if you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It's down there. Go ahead and hit it. You know you want to. Come on. It really does help the channel and helps for me to continue with the tutorials. And I do have some more coming up. I actually have some kid tumblers that are coming up. I have to get creating on them because one of my granddaughters had a very specific image or design that she wants, and I've got to get that created. So, but as soon as I get all the designs created, that is coming up. Remember, comment below with what you're making, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and let's keep crafting. Remember, keep crafting your best life.